Well, planning for retirement, that is a big step, and asking the right questions can certainly help ensure that you are, in fact, on the right track. When and how should you start saving? When should you start taking Social Security benefits? In this Making Sense, we're covering the key questions that you should consider as you're preparing for your next stage in life. Joined tonight by Justin Wolf. Justin, thanks so much from Forest Area Federal Credit Union for joining us here tonight. So, a lot of people have a lot of questions about retirement, and you're going to help walk us through either the answers or where to go to get the answers, correct?
Well, I'd like to think so. And if nothing else, hopefully give our viewers a few things to think about, as especially if they're considering retirement in the near or long term. These are what we're going to talk about tonight are all things that are good to start thinking about at any stage that you're at.
You can never start thinking about it too early. You can start dreaming about it too early.
That's right.
But you can't start, you got to start planning for it early. All right. So what factors should we all consider when we're actually thinking about what we envision as our retirement lifestyle?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I'm going to encourage our viewers is to think about developing a plan. Think about what your wants and needs are so that whether you're close to retirement, say 5 years or less, or if you're 20 years away, you can at least start thinking about what is it that I want for myself and how am I going to get there? All right. I'm not going to tell you what stocks to invest in or where to put the money tonight, but to think about developing that plan. And you know what? If your plan changes over time, that's okay too. Your plan can be kind of a living thing that you make adjustments to over time, because sometimes you'll make a plan, you'll work towards a goal and you'll get there. Other times there might be a roadblock. There might be a curve in the road that you need to make adjustments for. So when you're thinking about what retirement looks like for you, think about, where do you want to live? Is that the same place that you're at now? Or do you want to retire to another area? Does retirement include a second home or a vacation home? Does it include owning a home at all, whether you own one now or not? Think about what might fit your needs the best. Another thing that happens, we see a lot of times in retirement, is folks consider downsizing the size of their living space, whether they're owning, renting, leasing, any of those things. Just think about what you might want and then the potential costs that go along with that, so that you can set targets, goals, and make a plan. Because, maybe your retirement goal or plans none of us know how long we're going to live. It might include the future of assisted living or specialized living scenarios. And then it's not just all about where you want to live and the lifestyle, but how are you going to spend your time? What type of activities and access to natural resources or community centers? What type of life do you want to build for yourself? And now, don't forget, it's often exciting to think about, I'm going to retire in a warm climate. But also ask yourself, what does this mean for my family, my extended family? How far away am I willing to be from them? And these, again, are things that might change over time. If you're 20 years away from retirement and you're thinking about these things, they might change a little bit as time goes on. But definitely take into consideration, how far away are you going to be from family and friends? What type of community or surroundings do you want, so that you can work that all into your plan and then start saving and or budgeting for that appropriately.
And I love the thought of thinking and envisioning this, maybe perhaps long before you are going to retire. Because let's face it, I'm going to out myself on this one. As you get closer to retirement, you start scaling back on some of those things. If it means, I can retire sooner if I never want to travel. But 10 years ago, maybe travel was a high thing on my list. So you got to stay committed to those goals that you want to do to keep you on track. I like that. All right, here's the million or more dollar question. Okay. How do you know how much money you're going to need in order to retire?
Boy,
if you can answer this question, Justin, I'll buy you a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I can't. You're going to get the politically correct, dodged question answer here. The best I can do is I can tell you, consider what your ideal retirement lifestyle looks like, and then work a plan to get there. Okay, we're going to talk about, how much money are we saving individually for our retirement? How long will that last? Again, we don't know how long we're going to live, so we don't know how far we can stretch the funds that are in our retirement accounts or our other sources of income. But again, think about your living expenses. How much is housing going to cost? What about healthcare? What are your healthcare options? Do you want to travel while you're retired? Daily living costs, just buying the groceries. And then, of course, always plan on keeping some funds on hand for emergencies, the unexpected expenses. And, many of us, when we think about retirement, we think about it as a point in time where we no longer have to go to work, right? Well,
Right.
This can mean so many different things for each of us. Those folks that have retirement plans beyond Social Security, for example, if they fund them well and they perform well in the market or wherever they're invested, they might have significant income or availability to funds in retirement.
Mm-hmm.
For many of us, if that are more traditional, maybe blue collar workers, or those of us that frankly, live paycheck to paycheck,
Sure.
it may be tighter. And many times when we stop working, what that means is our total income in retirement might be less than what we were accustomed to getting while we were in the workforce. So planning and reducing debt during your working years is going to give you more cash flow availability in your retirement years. And saving for retirement in additional savings vehicles along the way are going to help you achieve that goal of retiring comfortably. So again, this is another piece to that plan. Think about what you want, and then think about how you're going to get there and what you need to set aside today so that you can realize that goal later.
Okay, let's drill down on that. How do we save for retirement, especially if we're in a situation where, look, everything's expensive now, everything's costing more, and more people are living paycheck to paycheck. So when you're doing that, the thought is, I may never get to retire, right?
Yeah.
Or I do not have the extra funds right now to retirement. But I have a feeling that as with most things, time is your friend, especially if you're trying to maximize, perhaps, instead of having to fund an entire retirement in the last 10 years of your life, of 10 years of your working life. If you can spread it out, it may be a little less painful. So how do we even start thinking about saving for retirement if we haven't?
Yeah, well, if you want to have the largest number of options available to you as possible,
Okay.
Start early and work on funding your retirement yourself. I certainly hope that Social Security is there and available for all of those of us that are contributing to it. I hope that our viewers that have pensions attached to, or other employer sponsored or funded programs, that those are there for them. Many of those things are subject to change, though, over the years. So start early, work on funding a portion of your retirement yourself. And even as a young person new to the workforce, you can get started right away. Or if you're halfway through your career, at any point, today can be a starting point, right? And things that you can look at are, think about if you get a raise at any given point, think about directing that raise, that money that you get today but didn't get yesterday. Think about maybe directing that to a retirement savings account or vehicle, and there's all sorts of types. So we're not going to get into those today, but if that's money that you weren't used to having and now it's here, take advantage of that. Same thing as if you get a windfall, maybe a little bit of lottery winnings, or you inherit money. Think about saving a portion of that or all of it. Of course, talk to trusted advisors, your bankers, your representatives at the credit union, your CPAs, your financial advisors. They can certainly give you advice on the best way to maximize that. Also, if you're in the workforce and your employer offers a retirement savings program, 401k is one of the popular ones, right? Make sure you're taking full advantage of the match. Yeah. If your employer offers a match and, maybe they match 5% but you're only contributing 3%, you're leaving 2% on the table. Now, naturally, you gotta put in a little extra to get the full match, but take the time and look at that. You don't want to leave an opportunity on the table. And then finally, create a budget. Look at your budget and look at how much can you afford in a week or a month or a year to set aside in retirement. It's also a philosophy: pay yourself first, right? Pay your savings first and then everything else. Sometimes easier said than done. But if you don't have a budget, write your expenses and your income down on paper and start looking at truly how much you can afford to set aside into retirement savings.
Yeah, and if you start early, you don't have to set aside you don't have to set aside as much. And especially if you're kind of looking at it saying, I'm in a career where I'm not going to make $4 or $5 million a year, like funding retirement's not going to be easy. The sooner you start, the sooner you can get on that. And 70-year-old you will thank you, right?
That's right.
You get that inheritance, you get that bump in pay. It may be hard to pass on some of the things that you'd like to do, but 70-year-old you will thank you for that. All right, we've touched on this a little bit. And if you've gone through retirement planning with someone, they will tell you this. We all like to think about those first perhaps 10 years of retirement, perhaps where we are traveling, where we are doing these things. But the last, whatever's left of your life, that travel expense most likely is replaced with healthcare expense, or can be replaced with healthcare expense. And if you've gone through retirement planning, the money that you should be saving for healthcare is a staggering number. It's big. If
it can catch you by surprise.
It's too many commas and too many zeros. So how do we handle, or how do we even plan on handling healthcare costs, which can be significant?
Yeah. Again, go back to your plan. If you're unfamiliar with what healthcare looks like in retirement ages, reach out to a trusted advisor that can help walk you through that process. Financial advisors, your insurance agents, these are good first steps to have quality conversations, because what happens is, Medicare kicks in at a certain age, around 65, but it maybe doesn't cover everything. You really need to be aware of what other supplemental insurance might look like, long-term care options if you ever end up in a health situation where that becomes a need for you. And those trusted advisors can help you navigate that process. And starting the conversation with them they're open and willing to do that. So definitely reach out and start looking at those options.
Okay, so when is too early to start not thinking about retirement? Because chances are, within a half an hour walking into a lot of people's work days, they're thinking about retirement, right? They're already like, oh, I would like to be on that beach or whatever. But as an age, when should we start taking retirement seriously?
Well, it's, probably I don't know if there's a good answer to this, but definitely in your 60s, or any time that you're thinking of exiting the workforce.
Okay.
If you have the savings in other vehicles and can exit the workforce before an age in your life where you're typically eligible to either start drawing from pensions or looking at retirement programs such as Social Security. It's never too early to look at those. Even Social Security, we get the explanation of benefits. We can see it as long as we've been paying in. The administration notifies us of what our current level of benefit would be once we attain the age at which we can start receiving it. So you can look at that and you can track that and see where that portion of income is going to land you when you reach that age. But yeah, developing a plan as early as possible, and talking to trusted advisors. They'll tell you, these advisors, they'll tell you if you don't need to worry about that for a few more years, because you can't start drawing on certain things, or you're not eligible for certain programs till a certain time. But having that knowledge is power.
Right.
Know when those dates are, so that you're not walking in the day that you need it, right, and realize that, oh, there's a process to this. I need to get on the ball here, or I've got this period of time where I'm going to be in limbo because I didn't get started early enough. So definitely, in your I'll also throw in here just because it popped in my head. Your human resources department at work, they'll often have information and resources available that they can share with you so that you can start those conversations.
Okay, so I asked you that question to ask you this question. So that's when you should start thinking about retirement. How old should you be when you start planning for your retirement?
Start planning today.
Okay.
If you haven't already, regardless of your age, regardless of how much time you have on a job,
Yeah.
Start planning today. If you're not, create a budget. How much can I set aside into retirement? When you're doing that, don't put every penny. You may not want to put every penny into retirement because especially if you're a young person, you may want to set some money aside for a future home purchase, a future vehicle purchase, all this. So you really have to balance those things and make a balanced plan. But, starting out, once you enter the workforce and you have a cash flow stream coming in, make sure you start either self-directed, looking at what can I afford to put away towards retirement, or seek that help of a trusted advisor so that they can assist you in doing that. There's wonderful tools online from many quality sources that can help you do this in a self-directed model. You can talk to an advisor that can point you in the right direction. But so many times, especially entering the workforce, it just starts with whatever type of retirement program that the employer offers, because in many cases, doing something is better than doing nothing.
Right.
Whether you're contributing to an IRA all on your own or some other investment vehicle, or you're taking part in an employer-sponsored program, getting started, making sure there are some dollars going in there that fit your budget and fit your plan and your goals. That's going to be the ticket.
Realizing that it's going to be a different plan for somebody that's 22 versus somebody that's 62. But I imagine that there are an awful lot of people even just watching right now that are like, I haven't started. Is it too late to start? Let's say you're 62. Is it too late? Do you have to give up on that goal? Or should you always take the opportunity to come talk to an expert who you trust, who can make the best of where you are? Or is it just too late?
No, it's never too late. It's never too late, because we live every day, right? And our lives bring us different challenges, different opportunities. And if you have $0 in retirement and you're of an older age, there's going to be more to think about, and you might have a little less to work with, from the starting point, compared to somebody that really started packing peanuts away in their early 20s. But it's never too late. A plan can start today, even at any age. You can start that plan today. Just may have to face the reality of what goes along with it, but it doesn't have to be dark and dismal. Not doing anything is going to hurt you more than starting at an age such as 62, because the day that you talk to an advisor or you start writing down a budget and making a savings plan for your retirement is the day that you're moving in the right direction.
It's empowering.
Yeah, it certainly is. So never too late, Mark.
It's never too late. There you go. But start early.
Yes, if you can.
Late, but asterisk, start early, pack those peanuts away when you're 22 and get that company match if you have that. All right. So a lot of, again, we're going to make some assumptions about Social Security here, that it is in fact around for when the folks want to retire. There's debate and question about when should you start taking Social Security. If somebody is not familiar with this concept, and I'm not going to grill you on the hard facts of Social Security, but in a nutshell, if you wait longer, do you get more? How's that work?
In a nutshell, the longer you wait to start drawing, the larger your benefit is going to be. Okay. And Social Security Administration, they will share that information with you. You can see, even if before you're at retirement age, based on what you've paid in already, they'll tell you, what your anticipated payment is at each age break once you're eligible to start taking. And from there, there's a lot of advisors that probably have a number of approaches they take to answering this question. That's why speaking to someone or evaluating them strongly yourself is advised. You know, you could say, hey, no day is promised. You know, we don't know how long we're going to live. So,
Right.
but now when you take that into account with your plan, you can start drawing as early as you can and take a lower amount, or you can wait a few more years to get a higher amount. It's going to depend on your plan, how much of your retirement you've funded yourself or through employer provided or sponsored programs. And that may be the deciding factor. It may be the deciding factor may be what are your living expenses and needs right now at that younger age?
Right.
What is your health condition?
Yeah.
You know, frankly, how long do we think each one of us is going to live? You know, I mean, if we know that there's you know, some troubling
If there's a reason to
underlying
have
health
it,
issues,
yeah.
it may be a reason to consider taking it early. So it is definitely going to be up to each person. And, you know, we could plan for it today. You know, if I've got a number of years yet before retirement, I can say, oh, I'm going to take it early, or I'm going to take it late. And that's the plan, and I'm sticking to it. There's too much that's going to change between now and then. The good news is you don't have to decide until you're getting much closer to that first age bracket. So work your plan, have a plan, know where you stand, and make that decision when the time comes.
It sounds like, as with most things that we talk about, especially when we talk about our money, here's the underlying, this is my take home message, Justin, of all the ones that we've done of this. If you have all the money in the world, you probably don't have to pay attention and do the things that you tell me to do.
Yeah, probably not.
But if you don't, you better have a plan.
Yeah.
It's a budget, a plan, work with what you have, and you may be able to achieve easier than you think your goals.
That's
And
right.
it sounds like retirement it's a big plan. It has a lot of moving parts, and it's different for absolutely everybody. So how important is it that we go and talk to people who this isn't the first time they've gone through retirement, right? Like, how important is it that we reach out to our financial institutions, to a financial planner, to a retirement expert, and get somebody who this is what they do for a living to help hold our hand and walk us through this? How important, or that's a leading question.
Yeah.
How important is that?
You know, I'm gonna say it's very important from the standpoint of what is the quality of your financial life that you want to have at retirement. I mean, retirement is a milestone. Whether a person has a whole lot of retirement assets or very little, I hope that they can enjoy their retirement years in the best way they can, or see it how they see fit. And it's not even, it doesn't have to be this big daunting thing either. You know, as you plan for things and you work at it, do it in smaller nuggets over time, it's going to make the process easier. And just being aware of what you can expect for yourself and what your lifestyle is going to be in retirement, just so that it's not a huge shock when you get there and you're not left with, oh, I didn't think of these things. What am I going to do now?
Right.
It's having a plan and knowing where you stand in that plan is going to help you enjoy your time in retirement that much better.
And that's the goal for all of us. All right. So, Justin, take home message. If you're young, start saving now. If you're not, it's not too late to start.
That's right. And there's always someone here to help. We're always glad to start the conversation and help people along that journey.
Justin, thank you so much for your time tonight. Thanks for everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, everyone.